Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to clean the throttle body on your Crown Victoria. This process is fairly simple and will require minimal tools. I will show you the tools that you require right now, just in the next part of this video. So basically, just to give you a quick rundown, what you're going to do is you're going to need to disconnect the driver's side screw from the intake, like right there. You'll see it right there, and then it's held in by 4 bolts once you slide this off. And to do this, you need a flathead. For this, you could use a ratchet. And before you actually take off the throttle body, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to disconnect your drive-by-wire system just like that and pull it off, as well as the same thing for the next clip back here. It's a little bit harder to see, but you basically pull back on the red tab and then you pop them out. Be careful not to break any of those wires because it will throw a wrench light if you do. Alright, so let's get right into the video. Alright, so for the tools that you're actually going to need, you're going to need a flathead screwdriver, and you are going to need a 7mm socket. If you're using the big ratchet, which I recommend because sometimes these bolts can be a little bit tight. If not, you can always just add a piece of pipe or something like that, or just have a steady pressure on a smaller one and it will come off. But what you're going to need is a 7mm socket and a flathead screwdriver. These are for the bolts on the throttle body, and this will be to remove the hose clamp on the intake. Alright, so now what I'm going to be doing is loosening the bolt or the screw, like I told you, that's holding in the intake. So it will be that screw right up here. I know it'll be kind of hard to see on the camera, but literally all you do is take the flathead, loosen the hose clamp, and from there you're going to just pry back on the intake from here, and then wiggle it around a little bit and it'll pop right out. The only thing that you have to make sure is that you have this connector here. You'll see it. It's the PCV valve. You just want to make sure that's disconnected. And then, like I said, wobble the intake and then it'll pop right off. And then, just like I said, with all of that loosened, this will just pop right off. You can either remove the entire thing, you don't need to because it's not in the way after this. And then I'll show you what I mean. Because after that, all you're going to have to remove is those bolts holding in the throttle body. Okay, so now to remove them, you're going to be taking off this bolt right here at the top, that one there, and then there'll be 2 more at the bottom. It's very hard to see them. There's one right there and there's one right there. On the other side, all you're going to do is, I'll show you with one hand, it shouldn't be overly tight. You're going to want to fit the ratchet on, and then there, you can see, came off. Sometimes they're, like that one wasn't even tight at all. Sometimes they're tight, sometimes they're not. This one, you can see, was a little bit more tight, so I might use an extension to bring it out a little bit more so I get better leverage. But all I'm going to do is go ahead and loosen up these 4 bolts and make sure you don't drop any of these, and I will come back and show you how to take the throttle body off of that once you have the bolts out. And as you can see, once I took out all bolts, it kind of just fell out by itself. So you're just going to want to take it out. Make sure you don't drop this. Please don't drop this. It's going to be a lot more than you think to replace. So be very careful with it. Set it aside, and I'm going to go inside in my garage and I will show you exactly how to clean it. Something quick to remember, or to remind you guys of doing when you do this. Your intake is now exposed to having dust, having anything, literally mice, anything that can go in there. So take a rag, take something, and just close it up. You can see I just put a rag. That works perfectly fine. The whole idea is just to block it, and what I will do is just put this back kind of close-ish so that less things get in, and I will definitely close the hood since I'm going inside to finish cleaning the throttle body. And speaking of the throttle body, take a look at just how bad that throttle body is. You'll see exactly what I mean when we're done. The throttle body is supposed to be a shiny, like, that's supposed to be goldish color, and you can see it's just filled with caked on grease and stuff like that that did not burn off in the engine. So we're going to be fixing that and cleaning it up. Alright, so now I moved into my garage with the throttle body. What I did is the gasket actually came off by itself, but I have the bolts organized in the way that they came out, just because sometimes you never know, some bolts might be longer or shorter, and then you won't figure out what to do. I don't want that to happen to anybody, so that's what I do anytime I remove it. Any part, that's how I lay it out. And as you can see, like I said, this throttle body is very, very dirty. You can see it's black in most places with carbon buildup. It should be, like, even this side is pretty dirty, but it should be closer to that color, which you can't even see at all. So I have it set up here in my garage, and I spread paper for whatever I'm going to be spraying, and for that I'll be using a carburetor and choke cleaner. It'll work fine for throttle bodies. It says you can use it on throttle bodies, so everything is good with that. And like I said, I spread paper so you don't damage anything that's on there. What you're going to want to do though is you're going to want to wear gloves, because the chemical will irritate your skin, and all you're going to need to clean it is one of these kind of scouring pads. I'll leave a link to where you can find them. They're fairly cheap. If you go to any like Canadian Tire or Walmart, you probably pick up a package of these for like $2, and you come with like 6 huge full-size sheets. I cut that one to size, and I'll show you exactly what to do. Okay, so what you're going to be doing now is basically you're going to take your gloves. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Like I said, this stuff is bad to use on your skin. And basically you're going to take your can of your throttle body cleaner and open it up. Typically it comes with a little hose, so you're just going to insert that like you would with any other can of like WD-40 and so on, and just make sure that it sprays and sprays everything's good. And now, like I said, it does irritate your skin, so what you're going to want to do is put on a set of gloves. You're going to have your scouring pad here, and you're going to have your paper towel to absorb and clean up everything, and make sure it's a lint-free towel. So now what you're going to do is spray it down, and what I'm going to do is let it soak for a little bit. There's no rush to this. You can let it soak for a minute or so and then start scrubbing. Alright, so about a minute later, it is time to start scrubbing. So I like to just put a little bit on my scouring pad and start scrubbing the surface of the throttle body. And what you're going to want to do is just scrub it basically until it's clean. This process should take, for my throttle body, you saw how dirty it was, 5 to 10 minutes is all it should take. That being said, I don't know the condition of yours, so I would say a safe time would be about 10 minutes. Make sure you also clean where the gasket mates to the throttle body to make sure you have a proper seal and you do not have any vacuum leaks. So all you're going to want to do, like I said, scrub it for 5 to 10 minutes until clean. I'll show you what it looks like once I have it clean, and that should give you an idea of what yours should look like. Alright, so as you can see, I just finished cleaning the throttle body. It should come out something like this. It should be exactly like this. You can see the metal plate is nice and shiny now. The only thing that I could do now is if I want to port it and polish it. That's completely up to you. I'll be doing a video on how to port and polish the throttle body, where you need to use a metal polish and basically pass it around a few times. Also sand it down, stuff like that. It's a long process, so I'll do a video on that. But as you can see, the camera doesn't really want to focus because of the shine. I always had a problem with that, so you could see how clean it is. Definitely a lot cleaner than it was. Definitely, if you decide to spray it, you could also spray this like outside. Spray it into like a catch can, like an aluminum foil, like one of those baking sheets or baking tins or whatever you want to call them, and just let everything drip down for a little bit, because this stuff is cheap. This stuff is like $5. So spray it. If you have to use a whole can, go right ahead. I barely even used a quarter of a can for this whole thing, and that included me cleaning the intake plenum as well. So just to give you an idea, this is for another video. I'll actually be doing test results, dyno test results, live data results, seeing how much air actually comes in to see if it actually does something. So that's for a whole other video. I don't want to do it as a part of this one, because then somebody's going to say that no, it's just your throttle body that's clean and that just gave you the extra little kick or whatever, or it's in your head. So that'll be a whole other video. Now all there's left to do is this throttle body. As you can see, looks great right here, but it'll look even better in the Crown Vic, and then we could take it for a drive and see if we notice a difference. So now you'll see those two holes there. They line up with the holes on the tabs on the gasket. Those two holes up there, and then we'll install the gasket. So with the gasket on and the throttle body all tightened down, all that's left to do is pop back on this intake tubing and then connect our clips to the throttle body. The only difference that I will be doing before I connect them, and all they do is just simply push right on, just like that. Just like that. I'll just be adding dielectric grease because I wash my engine, and it boosts conductivity and helps keep it more waterproof. So that's what I'll be doing. And once this pops back in, then I'm tightening it down with the hose screw. You can see the flathead that I was telling you that I loosened earlier, and reconnect this PCV valve that just slides right on. And just like that, we are done. So now all you're going to want to do is, if you want, you can relearn your throttle body for your car. You may have to look that up. From mine, all you do is put it to on, press the pedal down, wait about 10 seconds, turn it off, and then start it up and start driving, and it should be perfectly fine. It varies for cars, so be sure to check that.